What is up everyone, Talon here and welcome back to the channel. Today we have yet another Fix exclusive. What I'm doing is I'm putting these kind of more airsoft training videos more as inspiration and motivation for training rather than giving you actual training on how to do stuff, right? I'm still gonna explain how I like to do things, but this is by no means this is how you're supposed to do it, right? So motivation, inspiration. However, the basis for what I personally will train with on a kind of regular basis, we'll call it, is going to be more airsoft rather than real firearms. One, because I can go and do airsoft whenever the heck I feel like it, especially with this, you know, I happen to have an hour right before sunset. It is just getting overcast. I feel like there's a storm front coming in, so I don't have a whole lot of time. So it's not really something that I would spend a lot of time preparing my real firearms, pistol, or rifle, or anything like that. So it's something that's just gonna be quick that I can go out into my backyard and do, right? And airsoft is awesome for that. Secondly, it's going to mimic and replicate a lot of the loadouts and a lot of the mechanics that I would utilize on my real firearms, so I get that one-to-one action. And thirdly, I just get good repetition, right? So in the case of what we're doing today is some pistol and some rifle. So I have here just within probably 7 yards, just a regular cardboard target, nothing really crazy, nothing ecstatic. So you're gonna see me warm up, get used to it. I have here a Elite Force Glock 19X gas blowback, which means every time it fires, excuse me one second, it's going to replicate the action and motion of a real pistol. Now, so long as it's got enough juice in it to lock backwards. Some of the finicky things about this in Wisconsin, where we still have relatively cold weather, is that not everything that is gas operated will work well. That's one of the faults of it, is that it has to have some type of warm environment, but I get a lot of the good action out of it. Let me take a break and do a little bit of oiling really quick. Yeah, not awesome. Plenty of pressure. Man, I want to do like a just a quick bill drill or something like that. Maybe that's not going to work, but you know, something easy. Okay, you know, not there, not 100%. There we go. You hear the can pop? Malfunction, drop. And speaking of drop my freaking comms piece. That wasn't supposed to slide out there. Let's put you away. You know what? Maybe we can work on malfunctions just a little bit. So let's just say, maybe as an example, we want to get some of those failures or that repetition of getting some more rounds or a fresh magazine into our replica. Just getting one round, load up, and wherever this spare magazine is. Now when I train, still trying to figure this out. Whenever I train, I will practice magazine retention. Now when you're on like a soft grass like this, it's kind of okay in order to do like a magazine drop. You're not supposed to with these types of magazines. However, I do have some sacrificial magazines, right? I was pretty quick for someone who doesn't exclusively train with airsoft, but does a lot more repetition with airsoft replicas. So let's see that again. That already, proof in the pudding, is pretty good action. Now I could take it a step further and I can work the rack. I know what some of you are saying, oh, you didn't work the rack. Okay, let's work it in, right? Let's work it in, right? You want to see me work it in? We'll work it in, right? Again, not perfect by any means, by any standards. I am no Jerry Michalik. I am no IPSC professional shooter, but for like a Joe standard, pretty acceptable in my book. Let's work on rifles. All right, so the first rifle that I have here is the KWA F90. So this one is a licensed replica of what the Australian Defence Force, otherwise the Australian Army for us Americans, are utilizing as their service weapon, which I think is very cool that we have that available in the US just as a cool prop. But it is something that I recently was able to get my hands on, so the mechanics of a bullpup configuration is still very, very new to me. So something like this scenario, where I can just get a bunch of repetition without having to take it to a field and dedicate a lot of time to it, is gonna help me potentially be better and give my opinion to you guys. So this is not gonna be a full-blown review on the F90. That is gonna be coming out in the future, but you get a little bit of a tease before it actually comes out. Wow, aren't you privileged? Aren't you having a good time? So we are gonna have some fun with it. This one here is a rifle version of a gas blowback, so we get all the cool functionality. But we're gonna do, you know, maybe a couple of low ready up into the shoulder, and we can do that with our optic, looking over the optic, as well as with a 45 here. So this is a very unique combo. So I can get the practice of rolling it up into my shoulder, taking the safety off, and trying to aim down sights with the magnifier, which granted is still a low power, or I can work on doing the roll and working at that 45 on the 45 optic. So let's do a couple of shots here. Let's put that on semi, why don't we? Just for getting used to it. Okay. Now, I've done this with a GHK AUG, that's also gas blowback, and I've done it a lot of times without a plate carrier. This one being a little bit different, I have to work it into my shoulder pocket a little bit differently, a point for getting practice behind it. Let's work on that 45. Okay. There, I think I see it. Let's do optic, too close. Okay. Not exactly sure where the BBs are going in reference to my dot. Let me do this for a second. Okay, there we go. There, I see it. All right, I've got to be really, really low on it. And we had a empty magazine, which actually gives us a wonderful opportunity. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna work off of a shot and then draw. And yes, in airsoft, it actually does work really, really well. Here's a situation where I've had to do that exact thing. Yep. What the fuck? So if I don't get some more training or at least repetition doing that action, I'm not gonna be able to successfully pull it off in a airsoft environment, in a more tactical environment, we'll call it, right? So we'll say roll up. And I can work my way back up. Now this is, again, trying to figure out those mechanics. Back into the pocket, maybe getting a fresh one, up and in, right? Let's go from a low ready again. I want to grab it like an AR, but I can't do that. All right. Get it up, reloaded, back on fire, scan, and then back to safety. Pretty easy concept, pretty easy thing to practice. Let me do one of these real quick. Oh, you do have BBs. I'm not out just yet. I don't know, just thinking around at this point. All right, so we're kind of running low on daylight. What I want to do is really want to work the pistol. So I swapped over to my 19 Gen 3, my tried and true 19 Gen 3. And no issues, not like what the 19X is giving us. So I don't know if I have to clean it. But what we're gonna do is continue to work. We're gonna do 3 rounds and then swap to pistol just to give us a little bit more transition practice. So let's do just that. Now part of this also allows me to practice my time on the 2-point sling, at least the 2-point sling setup that I have on this guy. So kind of trying to figure out if I need to run it a little bit looser or stuff like that. So I had it pretty tight before. Let's see if it was just loose or if I prefer it tight or prefer it loose. Let's fix that first. All right, let's give this a try. Now I'm doing a loosen my sling up, so seeing if maybe that's gonna help me out here. And time check, 20 minutes before sunset. So back up. Now I've noticed because of the because my trigger is so far forward on this F90, I'm almost reaching with my left hand around the trigger grip rather than on the vertical grip or the fucking trigger guard, which is not a trigger guard, saber guard, whatever they call it. So watching some of the Australian military guys, sometimes they're throwing their rifles. Kind of like so, but this is not a light rifle by any means, so that is hard on the neck. All right. Oh, just barely hit that hand. Here, let me show you guys. If I walk over here, oh, why didn't you follow? Dumb camera thing. All right, let me quick show you guys what we're dealing with. So I've got here my paper target, a little bit shorter than where I'm sitting, and I've got a little Celsius can right here. And I would guesstimate that I'm probably sitting 7 yards away. Hi camera, you wanna follow me? Hello, hello little robot. Still figuring this tech shit out. Anyway, let's do a couple more drills. I don't feel I'm adequately warmed up just yet. I feel like I'm getting there. What's also unique is that the F90 has a dual stage trigger. So that allows for half of a trigger pull to be semi-automatic and then a full trigger pull to be fully auto. Here's an example. Well, that doesn't help whatsoever. All right, I want to get to my battery-powered rifle as an alternative, in case you guys don't like the idea of this unique gas blowback. You know, what is a somewhat decent battery-powered system that you guys might find advantageous? Let me grab that for you. All right, so this replica in particular is going to be a battery-powered system. So there is going to be a rechargeable lithium battery that sits in the very back here. And I'm not talking like a AA or AAA or some type of proprietary 9-volt battery type deal, like a RC car type battery, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's what sits in the very back of here. And this model in particular, referred to as the Q10 from KWA, has a large copper bolt that sits in the very back here of the buffer tube. And every time you fire, it does have a little bit of shock and recoil. I think is a little bit harder compared to a gas blowback. What this is awesome for is the battery itself is rechargeable, so you don't need to continue to purchase green gas canisters as your consumable power source, this one just works off of that battery. And just as fast, just as quick, stuff like that. Now, this one in particular, I do not have dressed up just because this is a relatively new acquisition from KWA. So I don't have any like dedicated accessories just yet. However, we can do all of the same basic functionalities from a training standpoint, right? Maybe something that's going to be over the shoulder, back to safe. Now, as you can tell, I am much more at home with this system compared to something like the F90 that is bullpupped. Now, you'll also notice I do not have any type of dump pouch back here, so I'm just throwing stuff into my back pocket. Work with what you got, right? Come on, get back in there. Get back in there, Billy boy. Maybe you want to start with a low shoulder. Get back in. Now we're going to talk about that in just a second. God dang it. Okay. So this one in particular from KWA, the Q10 and the M10, as well as a few models, does feature a cutoff system. Now this Q10 in particular, paired with this magazine that I have in here, this magazine, first of all, does have the option for a 30 round capacity or 120 round capacity. This one does not. This one is full 120. But you'll notice when I pulled this magazine out, the prior magazine, there is a little bit of a follower that is going to load every single round. You might have noticed that there's a couple BBs that will drop out when I do a reload halfway through a magazine. So let's quick shoot through this guy right here. So there, no more shots. It's not going to fire any longer. What's happening is with this magazine, there is a detection system that says and alerts via a mechanical switch on the magazine that the magazine itself is empty. So only until I insert a fresh magazine, but not just yet, you do have to hit your bolt release on the side here, and that's going to start the system to fire yet again. So we can replicate and we can start to train the same functionality that the gas blowback offers, but from the rechargeable battery standpoint. I can't find a pocket to fit that, so there it goes. This is not awesome when I don't have a freaking sling. At the very least, get your guys a sling. Holy smokes. Okay, so I'm hoping my camera will keep up with me. So let's say in a milsim environment, right? In a large environment, like an open field, plenty of buildings in the vicinity, I'm not gonna have the freedom of being able to pull a pistol at most of the engagement distance that you'll see milsims. You definitely have that freedom when you're playing indoors within a close environment. However, when you work this repetition, how do you kind of break the instinct of grabbing for your pistol versus finding cover and then reloading your rifle system? So that's something you have to figure out and work out with a lot of your training with yourself. Now, the way that I kind of break it is, what I'll try to do is I'll work by doing some shooting moves, and I'm gonna put my glasses on. Now, how you load your gear up is gonna be very dependent on you, your preferences, and how you like to have your kit set up. What I always do is I will always have one of my loaded magazines in a pouch right here on my 12, 3, 6, 9 o'clock position. And I'll have my ready magazines in my pouches. But this is always my, like, I always have to have a fresh magazine right here at my 9 o'clock on my belt. So what's gonna happen is, say we're in an engagement situation and I'm starting to move laterally with my point of contact. Now notice that I am dry firing, so there's no BBs firing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quick come up, do that reload immediately. and I'm just gonna start to move towards that point of cover. I don't have the freedom of being able to reach for my pistol and quick do that engagement in a Milsman environment where there's lots of distances, because pistols with an airsoft, just like within a real life world, don't have a whole lot of consistency and accuracy at greater distances when you're at that shoot and move situation. So, that one's empty. Let's work this guy. And again, because we're in a mil sim, I will not just drop my magazines when I'm in that engagement situation. So I always have to have a magazine here to quick reload and then hold on to my magazine. So whether I hold on to it as I'm supporting my rifle or just put it into a dump pouch or something else, you know, I rarely have the freedom to go back and pick up any drop magazines. So once again, let's maybe work that reload, get up against cover, and then maybe work our way backwards. Behind the cover, like maybe if you guys are cover, we'll work our way backwards towards you guys. Let's do that. Oh, and the magazine is empty. Wonderful. So let's do this. I'm going to work even farther away. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work and pretend like I am getting up 2 points of cover. So stick with me on this one. Up to a cover. Quick do a reload. Stash this somewhere. And then up. And then back down, right? If I'm at a point of cover, I will be covering and supporting all the guys up behind me or in front of me until I get told to push up with them, right? So being that supporting character, back down, up, and down, up. Oh, I'm out. And down. And then just keep doing that, right? Just practicing, working that, and you'll get better. That magazine is empty. Let's do this. Let's wrap our day up. Since it is, come on, watch, 6:56. Not a whole lot of daylight out. I know my camera's doing a good job making it look like I have daylight left. I really don't. So let's do this. I'm gonna put this down. Let's work back on pistols, right? Since we're potentially good and warmed up, grab this pistol here, and then with our plate carriers on, right, something we might not be totally in tune with, comfortable with wearing just yet. So let's work on pulling and getting ourselves situated. Obviously, I don't have myself situated. I couldn't find the magazine, and my spare magazine is empty. Let's fix that. So maybe super hardcore training like what I'm demonstrating really isn't your jam, and that's quite all right. Maybe you just have like a concealed carry and you want to get an airsoft replica just for that practice, that repetition in order to build confidence and competence with handling your real firearm. So you get an airsoft replica as the exact replica of what you're carrying, right, within some limitations. There's not an airsoft replica for absolutely everything. Maybe you and your buddy both have airsoft replicas, and again, maybe you're just utilizing it for conceal carry training. So one of the things that I would suggest is if you guys want to get really, really, really good, first of all, always feel free to warm up and get yourself comfortable with what is considered like a very close approximate to a IPSC competition target, which is roughly the size of one license plate and then one credit card right above it. So that's very close to what is called the A zone and A zone, and those are considered the kill zones by most pistol trainer standards. However, if you want to get extra good you can practice by putting a piece of tape right where, center is. Stand next to your target, figure out where that center of mass is, and then put a little piece of tape right there. Now, from an old FBI document, I believe it was FBI, they calculated that 95% of self-defense situations where you had to, or where you were attacked, happened within 0 and 3 feet. Like 95% between 0 and 3 feet, which means your person was right here that was attacking you, or 3 feet right here. So very, very, very close. Now, we've had COVID, and this is not a social standard any longer. So we're lucky to be able to work with some space between you and the next person, but that also means that you need to work on very close distances, right? And the A zones, that's a lot of space to work with. Right here immediately, there's not a whole, there's a lot of wiggle room when it comes to where the A zone is. When you now become 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet away, and in some self-defense situations, 40 yards away, this box now becomes way harder to hit consistently. But people have done it, AKA Dickens. I gotta put my phone up here real quick. Oh shit, friggin' dust and friggin', oh, what are you? I don't even know, Eastern Empire? I don't even remember what these are from. Oh! Some type of airsoft mill something. Okay, now, with your safety glasses on, this now becomes your practice standard, right? Maybe not with a plate carrier, but I'm gonna practice with a plate carrier. Something that's gonna be a little bit harder. But it now becomes like, as soon as, if you got a buddy, right, on their go, you're gonna try to draw and shoot and impact that piece of tape. It might look really easy. That piece of tape is right there. I'm within probably 8 feet of that piece of tape. From a airsoft replica standpoint, this is like, if you miss, it's not the replica's fault. Like, you are within 8 or 10 feet, like, there's no way that BB is just going off course due to wind. But I can tell I was high on that one. That one's a hit. So maybe I can, as a challenge, step backwards, and I knock the tape off. Ideally, that tape would stay on, and you can keep challenging your buddy by being like, oh, well, I'm 3 steps back from our regular point. Oh my God, there's an impact. I'm just ripping pouches off. All right. Nope, that was a low. So I'm gonna stay right here. That was a hit. Go back again. Miss. All right, again, staying right here. That was way high. Airsoft is not gonna go very far. So if you're still trying to figure out where your point of aim, point of impact is, like, you've got all the time in the world and you can expel a lot of BBs, just trying to figure out where that is. Now, it doesn't help that I can't see shit with these sunglasses on, but I still hit it. What is up? Ya boy killing it with these shots. So, one of my microphones is right there, so I think that I was probably back right about here, pretty far. We're at 15 feet. Miss. How many BBs do I have left? Oh, plenty. Might as well just swap out for the convenience. Miss. Gonna stay right here. Miss. No movement. Nope. And you can give your buddy shit if he's doing something like this. Ooh, right about there. I hit it, but in a self-defense situation, you know, not super quick. Thank you for staying with me. and listening to some of my suggestions, some of my rantings, I wholeheartedly believe that when it comes to a citizen or a civilian standpoint, airsoft is a phenomenal training option. You can't get much better as a tool in your kit bag that allows you to train at home freely and get very accurate and very consistent repetition that would mirror that of a real firearm. In the case of the 19 Gen 3 that I have, this is an option that I have for my carry. So this is one that I might carry. So that means I can work it from the outside the waistband or from inside the waistband with some of my holsters. And it's phenomenal for that. I can sit here in the yard, work with the cardboard with you guys, or work in my basement when I'm watching the new Top Gun or some type of new show, The Mandalorian, whatever have you, right? I can start working and getting those repetitions, and I can start to become more familiar with how that motion works and how I'm gonna pull with different types of clothing, like having a more rounded experience, getting that XP points and just leveling up as much as you can. Of course, this cannot replace the benefits of real firearm training, going to the range and putting real rounds into a target. However, this is a phenomenal building for just getting all the fundamentals down. Again, getting confident and competent with that replica so you can be even more based. You can be even more based when it comes to when it's time to utilize your real weapons. Now, again, thank you for staying to the end of the video. You guys will catch me in the next one. Take care, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.